sounds, the vibes, good talking, conversations. You can have it all on Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilori. Diamond 88.7 FM, we've got you.
From the news desk of Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilori, this is news around the world.
In the headline this evening, President Tinubu assents to 2026 Appropriations Bill 2025 budget extension. Former Senate President Saraki denies link to offer robbery. Police arrest a man with human skull in Kwara. Moving on to the foreign scene, Pope Leo XIV calls for peace amid global tension in Doula. Moving on to the business news, oil prices reduce as Iran says threat to Hamas opens during ceasefire. In the world of entertainment news, Ira Star announces July release for upcoming album Stargirl. Moving on to the world of sports, Saudi Arabia's soccer head coach less than 2 months before 2026 World Cup. Good evening and thanks for joining us for the news across the world on Diamond 887 FM Ilori, Kwara State, Nigeria. We'll move on to the break. After the short break, we'll be right back.
Opportunity in this country, I don't lose hope. Oh my God, jackpot.
Leaving the country may not be the solution that you think it is. Don't make leaving Nigeria the only solution to your life's challenges. Japa because you want to, but stop raising it as a solution to national issues that you can work on and fix. Nigeria will always be your home, and together we can make it better.
This message is reaching you from Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilorin.
Welcome back. Now the news and detail. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assented to the 2026 Appropriations Bill, which will provide for an aggregate expenditure of 68.32 trillion naira. The president also signs the bill extending the implementation period for the 2025 budget from March 31st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026. This is contained in a statement by a senior special assistant on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, with capital expenditure accounting for about 50% as the 2026 budget underscores the administration's continuous commitment to economic stability, national security infrastructure development, and inclusive growth. The allocations reflect a strategic balance between statutory obligations, debt servicing, recurrent expenditures, and capital investment critical to driving productivity and improving the quality of life for Nigerians. Former Senate President Bukola Saraki has denied any involvement in the 2018 robbery incident, describing moves to link him to the crime as politically motivated and baseless. In a statement, Saraki said he was compelled to respond to following public reactions to what it describes as an attempt by the governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, to revive allegations against him. He alleged that the robbery case was orchestrated during the administrations of the former president Muhammadu Buhari as a political tool to weaken his influence ahead of the 2019 elections. And according to him, investigations conducted at the time did not establish any link between him and the crime. He, however, accused the Kwara State governor of attempting to recurrent these baseless charges following his recent comments on insecurity in the state during an interview on Channels TV. Moving on, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) Kwara State chapter has accused the state governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of moves to frame the PDP leaders and the former Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki following the reportedly open of the tragic robbery case, as the PDP said that the move by the governor is an attempt to resurrect the national trajectory for cheap political gains, and therefore asked the people to reject attempt to turn their painful memories into tools of political propaganda. People's Democratic Party (PDP) State Publicity Secretary Olusegun Olushola Adewara stated this today at the press conference held at the People's Democratic Party State Secretariat in Ilorin, the state capital. Addressing newsmen, Adewara expressed shock that the offer robbery case was being resurrected for no logical reasons after it was thoroughly investigated by the Nigerian police, which exonerated the Senate President of any complicity in their report to the Public Prosecutions Department. Moving on to the educational sector, the Joint Administrations and Matriculations Board (JAMB) has announced that the result of all candidates who sat for the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations (UTME) on Thursday, April 16th, 2026, will be released today. Spokesperson of the board, Fabian Benjamin, announced this in an ex-post, noting that an announcement will be made when the results are available. Scheduled to run through April 22, the examination is structured into the daily sessions beginning at 7:30 a.m. and ending at 6 p.m. A framework designated to manage the large volumes of candidates and reduce congestions at computer-based CBT centers. This year, nearly 2.2 million candidates are participating across 966 accredited centers, each expected to meet operational benchmarks such as functional computer system, stable internet connectivity, and electricity, as well as adequately trained personnel. The Kwara State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of one Amza Wuru in the Kayama local government area of the state for unlawful possessions of human skull. Speaking with journalists today in Ilorin, the State Commissioner of Police, Adekim Ojo, said that the suspect allegedly exhumed the remains of the deceased female relative for rituals purpose. Narrating the incident, the police commissioner said that the suspect attempted to sell the human skull before he was apprehended, adding that his accomplice is still at large. He added that the case has already been charged in court under the Kwara State law prohibitions dealing in human part. The police boss so said that the command recorded major breakthrough in its outgoing crackdown on crime, including the interceptions of nominations cancelled in a bag of Gary and the arrest of suspected cultists. The news across the world is reaching you from Diamond 887 FM, Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. We go on a break now. When we return, we bring you entertainment, business news, sport news. Please stay with us.
Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Diamond 887 FM. Diamond FM, shining supreme.
Glad to know you're still there and you're welcome back as you're listening to the news across the world, reaching you from Diamond 887 FM. Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. Now we move to the foreign stories. And from the foreign stories today, a jubilant crowd gathered in Sulphur Heat today for a giant open-air mass by Pope Leo XIV at the stadium in Cameroon economy capital Douala. More than 120,000 people attended the celebrations, with some traveling long distances or arriving the previous night for a chance to see the leader of the world, 1.4 billion Catholics, as the Pope landmark 11 days tour of Africa has been abandoned by its previous restraints to deliver impassionate plea for the world peace. As the tussle with the fellow American Trumps after the U.S. president lashed out at him for calling an end to the war in the Middle East. But some Cameroonian Catholics had feared that Leo's visit could help President Paul Biya, who has ruled with an iron fist since 1982, burnish his image. And still on the foreign scene, Israel's defense minister Israel Katz has said that the campaign against the militant group Hezbollah was not yet completed, just hours after a 10-day ceasefire came into force in Lebanon. In a broadcast statement, Israel Katz said that the ground maneuver into Lebanon and the strikes of Hezbollah have achieved many gains, but they are still not complete. He also warns that if the fighting resumes, replaced residents returning through the country, war-torn south would have to evacuate again. And now moving on to the business news.
Diamond FM, business news.
On business news today, oil prices have plummeted after Iran said that the Straits of Hormuz will be completely open to commercial ships for the remainder of the ceasefire. The cost of a barrel of Brent crude fell to $88 a barrel, having been above $98 earlier today. The Strait of Hormuz is narrow strips of water linking the Gulf to the Arabian Sea, through which a fifth of the world oil and liquefied natural gas is typically transported. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively shut by Iran since the US and Israel launched military strikes in the country in late February. And now moving on to the entertainment news.
Diamond FM, entertainment news.
On entertaining news today, Afrobeat pop star Onyekasola Sarah, alias Ira Star 23, has announced the release date of her upcoming album Stargirl. The singer stated this during an interview. The Grammy Award winner disclosed the release date for July. She recounted how hard she had worked for her third album. Ira Star has, however, released a string of singles ahead of the album released, with fans eagerly awaiting the new album debut in July. And now moving into the world of sports.
Diamond FM, sports news. Frenchman Hervé Renard has been relieved of his duty as Saudi Arabia coach
less than 2 months before the start of the FIFA World Cup 2026 in North America. The 57-year-old had returned to the second spell as Saudi coach at the end of the 2024, having led them at last for the World Cup 4 years ago in Qatar. Ex-Morocco coach Ronald has later brought back to Saudi Arabia to succeed Mancini, and the Italian left his role after an overwhelming 4-month stint. Former Greece international Georgios Adonis is reportedly being lined up as the man to take over from Ronald. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has claimed that the Premier League title race will be over if they lose to Arsenal this weekend. City welcomes the Gunners in the top of the stable clash on Sunday. The league leaders are 6 points ahead of Guardiola's men, although City have a game in hand. A win for Arsenal will extend the gap, while the former champions have been chances to go within the 3 point. Guardiola said if City lose, it is over. And with that, we have come to the end of the news across the world. But before we go, here is a recap of the major highlights. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent to 2026 Appropriations Bill 2025 budget extension. Former Senate President Zaraki denies links to Ofa robbery. Police arrest man with human skull in Kwara. And moving on to the foreign Saint Pope Leo XIV, class cash for peace amid global tension in Doha. Moving to the world of business, oil prices reduce as Iran says Strait of Hormuz open during the ceasefire. Moving on to the world of entertainment news, you heard our star announces July release for upcoming album Stargirl. And moving on to the world of sport, lastly for today, Saudi Arabia soccer head coach less than 2 months before 2026 World Cup. Did you know segments today? Do you know on this day in 1979, students across Nigeria began an indefinite boycott of lectures to protest increased fee? The protest was tagged Ali Must Go. If you don't know, now you know. For information or happenings around you, kindly contact Diamond FM Newsroom on this number 0916 062 7526. The news across the world was edited by Abiodun Akinomi and read to you by Precious Afolabi. Many thanks for listening to Shining Supreme Stations. Please do note that the Yoruba version of the news will be coming very soon.
Listening to the music, to the sounds, to the
Diamond FM.